Morning everybody, and welcome to today's Q&A. Yeah, mainly dealing with the damage to the curtains this week. I mean, it happened last Thursday. We just turned up there. Was it Thursday? No, Wednesday. Turned up, the whole lorry had been absolutely smashed to pieces. It's an absolute shocker. But, you know, we got the windows back in on it on the Thursday, which I thought was kind of good. It might have been a Friday. Got the windows on the Friday. And got the curtains, me and Al did the curtains on Saturday, which was what you saw on the video this week. So, first of all, I'd like to say thank you all for your words of support. There were many, many words of support, too many to mention, and to go through it makes me like, oh, everybody thinks, it's just a bit much. But I don't want to say thanks. I do appreciate it. And yeah, this is what you had to say about it, really. Teddy Gas says, he says, I'm sorry, Pete. Look at the CCTV on any other business and see any vehicles in and out. We saw a guy going into the yard. It was like a ready brick, man. It's kind of, the problem with the CCTV up the yard is it works fantastic in the light, in the dark it don't work so well. So I've had a word with the farmer who owns the place and went, you might want to think about putting some more lights up here, Nick, or maybe some infrared cameras, at which point he went, Longfinger says, was yours the only vehicle targeted? If it's securely parked, surely there must be association with the place. I'm pretty sure it was us. But I don't think it was us, I think it was the driver, because whoever walked in to do it walked past my lorry, past a pile of other vehicles to this specific vehicle, and I got a third one parked around the back. Ignored that. Now, if they had it in for us, surely you might have thought you would have done the one that was closest to the fence. He wouldn't have walked past mine if they had it in for us. They at least would have done that one for a quick getaway. So I think it might have just been a misinformed attack. I don't know. It's a bit of a shocker, like, you know. TC Services is definitely targeted yours if it's the only vehicle that's been vandalised. Surely this state will have some CCTV for insurance purposes. Fingers crossed, we've looked at it. This comes up a lot, in fairness. Dan Redding says, gutted for you, Pete. Like to say, it definitely looks like a targeted attack. Obviously, whoever has it in for you hasn't got the guts to have it out with you or the driver. This is the other frustrating thing. If you've got a problem with me, come and speak to my face. It's not terrorism, isn't it? I'm going to do something to you, but you don't know who. You can't stop it, and you don't know who's done it. Or Valentine's Day cards. What are the point of them? You get a card saying someone fancies me. Who? If I knew who it was, I could maybe ask them out, but well, not now, obviously. But you know, that ship's on sale. Vayad Hussein Akabrale says, sorry, I forgot your name on there, mate. He says, it's hard when you're self-employed. I know how it feels. This is the thing. But this is what I keep saying. You see, this part of the reason why I've done the video is because I know that sometimes I can be criticised for showing like just the rosier side of the exchange. And I don't plan to. I just try to be honest about what's going on. So if something bad happens, I'm going to show you something bad happens, because anyone who's thinking about getting into this industry or getting into lorries or getting into the courier exchange needs to know what they're letting themselves in for. And that's the whole point of the channel. This is what you're going to face. These are ways you can get around it. You know, no one's going to give you £1 million. No one's going to knock on your door and give you £1 million. It's not a magic wand. You get out what you put in. I said that all the way along, but I'm just trying to just give you a full indication of what's going on here, you know. So David Parks says, what are the curtains measurements? Been fixed, David. Come on to that in a minute. Belsization says, he said, mate, my mate had his fuel in it yesterday, 1,100 quid's worth of fuel. You see, they do that sometimes, and they do that up here. As Van Roman says, he says, you look upset about this one, Pete, so sorry for you. It looks to me like a revenge crime, and I'm sure it won't be hard to find the psycho who's done the criminal damage. I had a curtain slashed a year ago on one of my vans. Not revenge, just locals on the rob. The van was off the road for 3 weeks awaiting a new curtain. Chin up, mate, take care, take money. Yeah, I mean, we've had it done up the yard before. We've had cats nicked. Not me, but we had people who had cats nicked. Not pussy cats, you know, sort of like the ones we got kicking around the house, something like the converters. they sometimes get up and the fuel gets nicked. And they've gone all the way down the lorries and they've nicked the fuel. Now, they're in it for the money. This is different. They haven't taken any fuel. They smashed the cab up, didn't take anything out of the cab. It is just someone's got it in for the guy. But we've tried to sort it out. I've gone around the yard, I've spoken to everybody. I've said, I don't know who's done this, but if anyone's got any problems, please, this is my number. Come and speak to me. And try to make it clear to everybody, if they had it in for the driver, they haven't got the driver, they've got me. They didn't smash up his van, they smashed up mine. So hopefully I've also moved him round the back, and I've moved Roy into the middle where he was parked. Roy's maybe a little bit more easygoing. Also, this particular driver has been with us since the beginning and has, you know, he has got his issues, we know this, but at the same time he's been there from the beginning and he's got his good points as well. And I'm not the kind of guy that's going to throw someone sideways if I really don't have to. I've had words with him as well, and he has said he's going to clean up his act. So, and he has. For the last, just see how it goes. I'm fingers crossed it's going to be moving forward. The message might be sinking in, but we'll see. That white van man says, he says, you seem remarkably composed. I'll be broken by something like that. So malicious. It's so pointless. CCTV at its minimum is probably going to be needed. We've got CCTV, don't work in the dark. At the risk of getting too political, when you slash policing, you slash society down to the bone. Now this was actually pretty cool, because I rang them on the Wednesday morning at 8 o'clock. I got a phone call back. I thought somebody might turn up in a squad car, have a look, see what was going on. Nothing. I got a phone call back at 4 o'clock by someone says, is there any blood on the scene? I went, no. I said, is there any CCTV? I said, yes, but nothing that you can see on. He says, okay, fine. Here's your crime number. Oh, I thought, that's it. Okay, they're over the staff, what can you do? Then I got a phone call Monday morning. Might be, yeah, it was Monday morning from a PC. He says, I'm at the yard right now. I went, really? Oh, okay, I know nothing about this. He said, why? He said, can I talk to you? I said, no, I'm about to tip City Plumbing. I can talk to you in about half hour. I'll be on the hands-free then. He says, I said, I'm legal, I'm on the hands-free. He says, right, I'm going to go have a look at the CCTV. So I put him in the farmer's office. He looked at the CCTV. He went around and interviewed everybody on the yard that was there. He spoke to me. He said, look, I'll come back again in 2 weeks. I said, fair play to him. They had a go. He said, I've had a look at it. He said, there's nothing we can identify. You look at that CCTV, if you can see an item of clothing or something like a trainer or something like that, something we can link with something else, we've got somewhere to go. He said, there's nothing to go on. He said, but it's an open case. If anything happens in the next 6 months, then call me and we'll get straight back on it. So I've got to say, bearing in mind that I could have told them there was nothing to go on, they've made an effort, so I can't knock them on that. He says, Phil says, police is like getting a doctor's appointment. I feel your pain. Yeah, Phil, I got lucky. He said, we're only based in Dunstable. He said, I can come up here in 10 minutes. So he was a nice guy. Got his number in my phone. Chris Harris says, I was going to ask you a question for the Q&A, but what, I'm gutted for you, mate. I hope you get them. Just get into the game myself. This is my worst fear. Hope you get it sorted. So this is the whole thing, Chris. Like I say, this is why we do the videos, to give you the SP. But you've got to bear in mind, I've been doing this now for what, nearly over 4 years, I think. Or yeah, probably at least 4 years, or getting on with 4 years. First time it's ever happened to me. Things do happen, but on the whole, it's on the good. And if you've got any questions, don't just the fact that, you know, don't let the fact my lorry got smashed up bother you. Just ask the question. I don't mind. We'll still answer them. That's what we're at. Chris Gassor says, for secure parking, speak to Glen Transport in Leighton Buzzard. Chris, I did. I went round there because I thought, we can't leave it here. What happens if it happens again? And the problem is, they've got Glen Transport in Leighton Buzzard. They're fantastic. They've got CCTV, infrared, guard dogs, 24-hour security patrols, gates, floodlights, fences back there so that you can see them coming. But they're over 4 times as much of where they cost it at the moment. And Alf said, he said, I've worked out we worked out how much the repair was cost. If we park it in Glens for over a month, the money that it's going to cost me to move it round the corner is more than the repair. So unfortunately, it's not cost effective. Ideally, I'd love my own base, but that's a far off distant dream. Keep moving, one step in front of another, get there one day. Gareth Croft said it's terrible. He says something about the CCTV again. He said wonder if it was anything to do with the YouTube. It could be, Gareth, but I'll be honest with you, I don't upset anybody in YouTube as far as I know for quite a long time now. I think I upset a few people at the beginning for doing things that I wasn't supposed to, but I didn't know I wasn't supposed to. And also for maybe coming across the impression that I knew what I was talking about when I didn't. I didn't mean to come across that way. I just didn't realise I was doing it. But recently, I mean, the fact that I've been getting on with it, like, you know. And also, if it was for me, surely they would have done my truck, which is right next to the gate, and it's the one that's got badly painted out palletways. You can't miss the damn thing. So I think it's something the driver's done, but you will never, I don't know. Maybe if somebody will talk one day, I will know. Andy Darwin, he says, he says, I work for a haulage firm and they specialise in welding beakey together when curtains have been cut. Well, yes, we got onto that one, and that's coming up next. Further Ventura Mobility Scooter Hire says, if you have a dash camera running 24/7 hidden, I know people wear hoodies and masks, but it's an idea. That is an idea. That is worth thinking about. I'm thinking about dash cams. I'm also thinking about trackers. Van on a Run says, he's gutted for you, mate. He says, I hope you find out who's behind it. There's some terrible people out there. If moving operator sentence, then that will make the landlord think seriously about changing the cameras and stuff like that. Yeah, the other problem with that is, of course, it's the land transport problem as well. If I move my lorry around the corner, theoretically, I have got to inform the ministry that I'm putting it in a different place, and then that's another advert, and that's another base, and all that kind of stuff. It's involved. I mean, they do snap parking, so you can snap park around there, but then you've still got to move it back at some stage. It's just so involved. I mean, we're kind of settled where we are, so if I don't have to move it, I plan not to. TMSV Services said, wow, people, when I say absolutely gutted. He says, yeah, as a random attack. He said, the cops did get involved, my friend. Darren Quarterman, this made me smile. He said, sorry for your loss. Yeah, and that reminds me at the end of it. I said, yeah, so basically, once it was all been done, it was all smashed up there, and we'd done all morning, we think, what are we going to do? And you've taken the horror in. I've got the two drivers. Roy was off the road as well. We couldn't find him a job that day. There was very little work that day, so in fairness, at least I didn't lose too much money. And they both looked at me, and I went, lads, I said, at the end of the day, this is terrible. I said, but it's just glass, metal and rubber. Nobody woke up this morning with a lump. We'll fix it. It's a machine. Machines can be fixed or they can be replaced. It's just a machine. And a machine has been fixed. Lee Westcott says, have you considered buying yourself a small holding where you can keep all your vehicles and build it? I'd love it, Lee. I'd love a little unit with a little fork truck, somewhere where you can swap pallets over if you needed to, and a yard with fencing and gating and CCTV and a little office and all that kind of stuff. How much? But it's coming. I hope it's coming. We've got 5 lorries running properly now. I'm in the office now. I was in the office on Friday. I was in the office last Monday. Didn't do such a great job. We had a bit of we didn't realise that one of our drivers who didn't have the app because we hadn't sorted it out in time was going the wrong job. It just didn't work out very well. Couldn't find anything all day. This Friday went okay. And of course, obviously, if I'm in the office when I finally work out what I'm doing, I will do you the how to be a shipper, peek behind the velvet curtain. This is how I run things from the man in the chair. Once I figured out how to run things to the man in the chair, but I'll get onto it. Steve Campbell, he said, doesn't seem to be a random attack. I don't want to be pointing fingers at anybody, but have I said anybody recently? Don't think so, Steve. Could be a disgruntled ex-employee. We haven't got any. Everybody always left on good terms. We've always tried to be nice to him. Well, at least I hope we did. Also, just in case, it just could be someone off the YouTube. Yeah, but again, I didn't get me, mate. If you find someone new to park, maybe it won't help. It could help. Anyway, that's kind of that. And finally, Tony Mason says, I'm feeling your pain. Hope you get the truck back on the road soon. Well, funny you should say that, Tony, because the repair. So, last Saturday, me and Alan went up there, not knowing what we're doing. He turned up with no tools. Well, he turned up with a van full of tools, but none of the right ones. We needed a heat gun, and we needed to buy a roller, so I'll go and get one. And then we realised we needed a rubber roller, which we couldn't get because apparently no one sells rubber rollers. Because you need a rubber roller because if you use a normal roller, it's going to melt. Fortunately, my mate Ian, who's a superstar, who's got I think he's got enough everything in that container. I think I could go and ask him for an electric peg remover when we have one. And he lent me a heat gun and a rubber roller, and then we figured out how to do it, and we sat. My knees were killing me by the end of it. We started knitting it back together around about 10 o'clock, and we finished around about 3. But we got them both done, and it's a good job, and it's holding firm, and it's lovely. So, Joe Sargent says, he said, well done for your job. Thanks, Joe Sargent. Dale Steele says, who strips wallpaper with a heat gun? As I said, I'm clueless. I honestly don't know what I'm talking about. And everything that you do here on this channel is probably wrong, or at least largely erroneous. So please take everything with a pinch of salt, Dale. He said, Pete, have you considered leaving your curtains open at night? I used to do that with my curtain. Again, wouldn't help smashing the windows, would it? Like, they were just after him. If I'd have left them open, in fairness, if you had left them open, he might not have cut them. But then he might have smashed the lights instead or something, or done the tyres. You know, the problem is what it is. If someone's going to get it, they're going to get it, aren't they? He says, Steve Campbell says, I still don't know how the curtains come off. Yeah, the thing is, because I'm shooting that video, but when I do these videos, I try not to get anybody else involved, because people probably don't necessarily want to be on a video. I'm always, when I'm doing them on the road videos, if I've got a fork truck driver or someone in the public there, I'm always concerned in case they see themselves on the video and they go, I didn't really want to be on that, you know. I did one once with a mechanic. I said, oh, you're in it, Mark. And he turned around and went, I'd rather not be. I went, okay, fine, I'll take you out. No problem. What was he saying? Yeah, so when I was trying to shoot it, I couldn't. I wish I'd shown a bit more of how to actually patch it, put the proper patch on. But I've got Al there, and and I should be working. I can't stop every 2 minutes going, yeah, I'm just going to set the camera up. So I did the best I could. Maybe one day, if I do another repair, a little repair, just me, because I know what I'm doing now, I might try and show you. I might do a video on how to do it. I've got a little tear at the top. I might do a video on how to do a tiny patch with the heat gun and everything. Get a little bit. Yeah, I might do, but you know, down the line. Brian Webb, who says, now this may well be my friend, and he says, I know you know I am now, but I don't. But I'm guessing it could well be. He says, I was quite impressed with your curtain repairs. He says, I hope the near, because he saw the offside, we had the offside, I hope the near side was as good. Maybe you should take up repairing curtains. If you paid someone to repair them, they would not have done any better, which is a very kind thing to say. It was much better job than painting. Yeah, the painting didn't go well, did it? If so, what was that? A much better job than the other one painted. Whatever. Yeah, I could change my name from Pete the courier driver to Pete the curtain repairer. If I was repairing curtains, I would change my name to Peter the Pleater. It's a shop I used to see when I was coming out of the East End of London. It was on the corner of, just round the corner from the city, and it was just this tiny little shop on the corner. Peter the Pleater. It's a great name. Van Roaming says, I'll be interested to see how a massive repair like this lasts. Any chance of putting a link in for the repair materials? I don't know where they came from. Well, I gladly would. If I can find out, I'll let you know, but I don't know how I sorted it out. But having said that, Rock God says, I hope this never happens again, but if it does and you're struggling to get the materials, let me know, as I'm based in a yard where there's a company that supply curtain materials to manufacturers and curtain repair businesses nationwide. Glad you got it sorted. Mate, if you could do us a link or something to where it comes, and then what I'll do with Van Roaming and all that stuff, we'll put the link in and I'll know where it is. And if anybody who needs any curtain, I'll probably put it under the video as well, where to buy curtain materials. See what we can get, just so people know where to go. You need the webbing. The webbing is a tiny little strip that goes down. You do that to sort of where the strips go down to marry them back together, and then you get the plastic and you put the plastic across the actual rip in the curtain and across the webbing, and that seems to do the trick quite nicely. Teddy Gas says, always fully unwind your extension cable because you were lucky it didn't melt, Pete, and someone else has said the same thing there. But yeah, I'll bear that in mind, mate, yeah. Van on the Run says, it looks really good, to be fair, and when I saw what you'd done with them, I thought they were scrap. Yeah, they did look an absolute state. Fair play to you both. And he also says, an update on who the culprit might be? Not as yet, but we'll keep our ears open. Shane Hardy says it's either the extension lead or the space gun. Oh, there, because the fuse went. That was brilliant, because I was using my mate's warehouse, and he's got an extension lead plugged into an extension lead plugged into an extension lead, and I plugged it into the fourth extension lead, and the whole thing went pop, and we were like, oh, Christ almighty, we're now going to have to go through all of these to work out where it's gone. How worked it out? So anyway, we got that one done. It was in the triple plug by the front. And finally, TC Services, well done, Pete. I was expecting another comical video, but it looks decent. Just hope you can catch the people that have done it. Well, let's face it, my friend, it's not another Paint Your Wagon, is it? Paint Your Wagon really did. There's a video. Paint Your Wagon really didn't go well, but it still runs. Right, now we're on to the wise guys. Clive Littlewood. He got back to me. You know the guy who turned around and he said about he was having a dispute with the VAT people. He said, it sounds like he has not separated the goods from the transport when he's claiming the VAT back. He can charge and claim for any transport costs, but not the zero rated goods. So I don't, if the VAT guy's still watching, if you can get back to me with any more information, but from the sounds of things, you can claim VAT on the transport, but you can't claim VAT on the goods, apparently. But it's all a bit involved. I'm not quite sure what's going on there. Lee Westcott says, I've got a question for the wise guys. He said, why do lorries have curtain sides and not a roller door like the back door of a Luton? Well, as usual, I know nothing, but if I was to posit a guess, I would say that the main reasons would be cost, the cost of a roller shutter. I mean, a normal roller shutter on the back of the van is probably about £1,000, and that's on a van that's it's about £1,000. You might get it cheaper, and that's probably about 1 metre long. Now, my curtain is about 1 metre long. No, longer than a metre, 2 metres long, ish. Yeah, 2 metres. My curtain is 7 metres. So that's going to put that at 2.5k, plus 2 sides, that's 5k. The second reason would be weight. The damn things are heavy. I mean, curtains aren't light, but a 7 metre, because they have to be weighted with springs in and stuff like that. A 7 metre shutter would be really heavy, so you've got an extra weight. Probably between the two of them, you could be looking at a couple of tonne, maybe at least a tonne. That's weight off your carriage that you can carry on the vehicle. And thirdly, when they zhuzh up, they take space at the top. So when you're trying to put pallets in, that's going to be in the way. Curtain goes flat the way to the top. Those are 3 reasons off the top of my head why you wouldn't do it. But if anyone else knows any better than me, which I'm sure they do, let us know and we'll come back to Lee next week. And Nelly says, do you recommend putting full weight on a van for international travel? See no reason why not. As long as you don't go overweight, you should be fine. It's kind of across the board. If 3.5 tonne here is 3.5 tonne there. But once again, anyone who knows any better than me, let's get back to Nelly and give him a proper answer. Right, just one on trucks this week. Gil Geezer says, hi Pete, retired now, things are always changing. 10 hours driving every day, legal for the rest, throw the taco card out the window. Some did. We did 9, it's 9 and 10 twice a week. But yeah, we try and run under that all the time. After driving more recently, was told to take a 31-minute break before a 15-minute break. You might want to check that one. No, you can't do that. Has to be 15 minutes, then 30 minutes. You can't do it the other way around. It's either 45 minutes in one block or 15 and then 30. If you do a 30 and a 15, it won't count. It will count it as the first 30 as a 15 and it will count the second 15 as a nothing. I will help you work time directive a little bit, but that's it. I was asked on break in the driving seat, presented no problem. Passenger seat is better if you can do it. We used to put the taco on brake at any time leaving the cab. Yeah, you know, if you forgot and on a distribution centre, you would get your brake covered. It's fine as long as you can prove that you were on brake. If you pull out a distribution centre and you've been in Aldi's, they won't like you. But anyway, miscellaneous this week. TC Services says, come April this year, it will be my first year on a CX. Judging by what I put in at the start, plus wear and tear on my own van, wages, etc., I think I've broken even, but I won't know until April 2024 after my taxes get done. So what you're saying there, TC Services, is you've done a year and you've earned yourself a year's money. And hopefully after the first year, it will improve, because the longer you're on it, the more people know you're there, the chances are you'll get better jobs, more regular jobs. That's what I hope is the case for you, mate, and I hope it's working out, and I hope you're moving forward. I mean, I try to think after the first year where I was. But it's moved forward for me. I just hope it works out for you guys. Well, you particularly. Domain name guy says, many drivers are missing a trick, e.g. when they have delivered their first delivery on the day and they go on the CX, look for turn load. It's no different than going on a day trading app and watching the red and green candlestick chart go up and down. He's the guy, domain name guy has got a channel out there with some videos. I'll do you a link if I can. And he does that trading thing. So if you're interested in that kind of stuff, I don't know if he's still doing them, but you know, if you want to go over there, and it's something that you could be sitting on your phone. I don't understand it. I don't just get involved. I just try and run the lorry and make money. I run the lorry from the chair now. I'm like the Oracle. I was in Batman. Although she was a girl, and it was Commissioner Gordon's daughter, and she was a girl, and she was also, I think, basically, her legs didn't work because the Joker shot her. If you ever get a chance, there's a book by Alan Moore called Killing Joke. It's about that thick. You read it in about an hour. It's comic. It's graphic novels, they call them. It's a comic. But it's how the Joker became the Joker. And all the films and everybody you watch, none of them are right. This book's right. No one knows it. And it says, all it takes is one bad day. He has one bad day. He's a normal guy, a normalish guy. One bad day turns into the Joker. It's a really, really, really good book. I can't recommend it enough. Adi Bayo says, thanks for the uploads, Pete. They're really helpful. I would like to ask your experience on Arctic vehicles on the haulage exchange. I don't really have any. As I understand it, an Arctic load will sell for around about 500 quid. You may get more than one a day. You might only get one a day. There are loads on there, but I don't do it. I've stopped at 18 tonnes. That seems to work best for me. But if anyone has got any experience, we'll put it in the wise guys. We'll get back to you. Dale Steele says, big money numbers. What's the guy been watching? There's never been big money numbers in transport. Dale, there's loads of big money numbers in transport. The cost of parking, the cost of replacing windows, the cost of transport managers. Daniel, I love you, but you know, obviously it's a cost. The cost of insurance, the cost of drivers. There's plenty of big numbers. The cost of diesel. Fill up 5 vehicles on a Friday and see what your bill is. Plenty of big money numbers in transport, just the ones you don't want. Shane Hardy says, how much have the top wise guys paid you for the awards named after them? I know, Shane, I'm taking your point here actually, because to be honest with you, it's kind of unfair, because there's a lot, like your good self, a lot of very regular people who contribute to the channel to enable us to do this stuff every week. And I've decided with the Courier Driver Awards, I'm not going to name them. I'm just going to do the awards because it just doesn't seem fair. Like, you know, so anyone who's got their award, you'll secretly know it's yours, but I'm just going to put them out there. And on the, because I did say to Godzilla's, do you fancy one? It's an award involving me. Good God, no. The handle Godzilla comes from two things. Firstly, it's hard to forget, but to be fair, a lumbering fat dinosaur stumping around shouting something no one can understand, that sums me up well. Firstly, I don't believe that's true, and secondly, I fear if I ever get to an airport and see a guy wandering going on that ship. And finally, in conclusion this week, Comrade Bismarck says, one piece of advice from me: the haulage operator running 5 Arctic trucks, running trucks on the CX is now very difficult. Oh, mate, I know, on the Monday it was difficult. This Friday was okay. So, like I say, I'll try and get you one out there. And I've got to try and figure out a few things. Does anybody know, here's one for the wise guys from me. Does anybody know, you know when you go on the app and you look at the job and it says view job and it draws a line from where the truck is to where the location is. You'll go around at 25 and you'll go there and you'll go along and you'll go to the M11, you'll go and you'll end up there. On the desktop, I can't do it. All I can do is go to, I can find out where the trucks are now. I finally figured that one out on the magnifying glass. But there's, when you go to how you actually work your way around to draw the line, I don't know if it's there. I might have to ring the CX and ask them. But once I've figured it all out, obviously I'll be doing a video about it saying this is what you do. So hopefully I'll help. And in the meantime, enjoy the rest of your weekend, everybody. It's getting a little bit lighter. It makes it just a little bit easier to take care and take money.